We all know the basic story of the Buddha. He was a pampered prince who had everything: wealth, status, and a beautiful family, and then gave it all up. But we often miss the deeper question: why? It wasn't just about rejecting luxury. The Buddha saw that his entire sense of worth was built on things that were fundamentally unstable. His status as a prince could be lost in a war. His youth would inevitably fade into old age. His perfect health would give way to sickness. His entire identity was conditional, fragile, and subject to the law of impermanence. His great renunciation wasn't just a rejection of the world. It was the beginning of a radical search for a source of happiness and worth that was truly unconditional. Something that sickness, old age, and even death could not touch. He was looking for a foundation that could not be shaken by the winds of change. This brings us to one of the most pressing questions of our own lives. In a world where everything is impermanent, our moods, our jobs, our successes and failures, how can we find a stable, reliable source of self-worth that doesn't rise and fall with every passing wave? It's an exhausting roller coaster, isn't it? Feeling good about ourselves when we get praised at work, and then feeling worthless when we make a mistake. Basing our value on the shifting sands of external validation and our own fluctuating internal weather. Today, we're going to explore the Buddha's profound answer to this search for unshakable worth. We'll discover that the path to a stable sense of value lies not in building up a better self-image, but in grounding ourselves in something that is always within our power: the integrity of our own heart and intentions. To understand the Buddha's solution, we first have to get crystal clear on the problem. The reason our self-worth is so unstable is that we build it on a foundation of sand. The Buddha called this sand the 8 worldly winds. The problem: the house built on shifting sand. These are the 8 conditions of life that are constantly changing, constantly blowing us off balance. They come in 4 pairs: praise and blame. We feel worthy when we're praised and worthless when we're criticized. Success and failure, or gain and loss. We feel valuable when we succeed or acquire something, and devalued when we fail or lose something. Fame and disrepute. We feel important when we're known and popular, and insignificant when we're unknown or looked down upon. And finally, pleasure and pain. We feel good about ourselves when we're feeling happy, and bad about ourselves when we're feeling sad or in pain. Basing our worth on these 8 winds is exhausting because we have no ultimate control over them. They are impermanent by nature. To build our identity on them is to build a house on shifting sand, leaving us in a constant state of anxiety, always trying to shore up our walls against the next inevitable storm. The solution: the unshakable foundation. The Buddha's radical solution is to stop trying to build a better house on the sand. It is to move our entire construction project to a foundation of unshakable bedrock. This bedrock is not what we have, what we achieve, or how we feel. It is comprised of the only 2 things in the universe we have any real control over: our intention and our virtue. The first pillar of this foundation is the integrity of your intention, or satana. In Buddhism, the moral quality of an action is determined by the intention behind it. You cannot always control the outcome of your actions. You can act with immense kindness, and it may be received with anger. You can do your best work, and you may still fail. But you can always choose to act from an intention of kindness, clarity, and generosity. Your worth, then, comes from knowing that your own heart was pure in that moment. It is a profound inner dignity that is completely independent of praise or blame, success or failure. The second pillar is the refuge of your virtue, or sila. This means living with a baseline of ethical conduct embodied in principles like the 5 precepts. It's about committing to a life where you are not intentionally causing harm to yourself or others. When you live with this kind of integrity, you create what the Buddha called the bliss of blamelessness. It is a quiet, powerful sense of self-respect that no one can give you and no one can take away. It is the deep, peaceful knowledge that no matter what storms are raging outside, your own inner home is clean and in good order. This foundation of virtuous intention and action is the source of a worth that does not fluctuate. It is not built on the sand of worldly conditions, but on the bedrock of your own heart's integrity. So, how does this radical shift from seeking external validation to cultivating internal integrity actually look in our modern lives? It is the antidote to the exhausting performance of self that dominates our culture. Think about your workplace. When your worth is tied to your intention to contribute with skill and honesty, you are freed from the tyranny of outcomes. A project can fail, or a boss can be critical, but the quiet dignity of your own good effort remains untouched. This is a powerful remedy for the imposter syndrome, because your value is no longer based on being seen as a perfect expert, but on your sincere intention to learn and contribute. Or consider social media, a machine designed to run on the fuel of the 8 worldly winds. When you shift your focus to intention, the game changes completely. The question is no longer, will this post get a lot of likes? But rather, is what I'm sharing true, kind, and helpful? This single shift can transform a source of immense anxiety into a field for practicing integrity. This is not about no longer enjoying praise or success. It's about not being shattered by their opposites. You are learning to anchor yourself to the bedrock so you can enjoy the winds without being swept away by them. To actively cultivate this inner foundation, you can use a simple 1-minute practice at the end of each day. We can call it the integrity mirror. Before you go to sleep, instead of reviewing what you accomplished or where you failed, simply look back on your day with these 2 questions in mind. First, ask, where today did I act from a place of good intention? Look for one small moment where your heart was in the right place, where you intended to be kind, helpful, or honest, regardless of the outcome. Second, ask, where today did I act with integrity? Recall one small moment where you were true to your own values, where you can feel a sense of blamelessness. This isn't a search for perfection. It is a gentle search for evidence. By acknowledging these moments, you are actively reinforcing your connection to this unshakable foundation. You are reminding yourself where your true worth resides. True, lasting self-worth is not something you can find out there. It is not a prize to be won for being successful, popular, or even happy. It is the natural, quiet dignity that arises when you cultivate an unconditional friendship with yourself based on the integrity of your own heart. The world will always be a place of change. The 8 worldly winds will never stop blowing. But when your sense of value is grounded in the bedrock of your own virtue, you can meet all of it with a quiet, unshakable peace. You become the calm eye of the storm. The Buddha's journey from a prince to an awakened one was a journey from conditional worth to unconditional freedom. He found the one foundation that could not be shaken, and he taught that this same foundation is available to every single one of us right now. What is one small intention you can set for tomorrow that would help you connect with your own inner integrity? Share it in the comments. If this exploration was helpful, please like this video and subscribe to the Mindful Compass. Thank you for exploring this with me. May you find the courage to place your worth in the goodness of your own heart, and may you know the deep peace of that unshakable refuge